America will never forget.
17 years since the September 11th terror attacks, a country remembering those lost, including a local teacher killed in the attacks.
Countdown to landfall, just a few days until Hurricane Florence hits the eastern United States. We're going to talk about new models, giving all of us a clear picture of how strong the storm will be when it reaches the shore.
Set for release, a major announcement on a kidnapping case that gained national attention. How a woman who admitted to helping her husband abduct a 14-year-old in Utah might be released as soon as next week.
News 3 starts right now.
Your tears are not shed alone, for they are shared grief with an entire nation.
President Trump there reading a speech in Shanksville, Pennsylvania on the 17th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. The country pausing to remember the lives lost in the deadliest terror attack in U.S. history. We thank you for joining us. We hope you're having a meaningful and reflective day. I'm Reed Cowan.
And I'm Latoya Silman. As a nation, Americans vowed never to forget the 3,000 innocent victims. Those stories now told in New York, at the Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where passengers on board Flight 93, a United flight, took a stand against the terrorists on board. This year, a new memorial stands in honor of the 40 passengers on that flight. It's called the Tower of Voices, and it will have 40 chimes. This was the president's message today.
This field is now a monument to American defiance. This memorial is now a message to the world. America will never, ever submit to tyranny.
In New York City and the Pentagon, officials held their own somber ceremony. We'll have more on those events coming up in our 3:30 half hour.
Here in the Valley, a number of ceremonies offered a chance to remember those who died on 9/11. News 3's Kendall Nunley tells us about the local impact that connects our valley to that tragic day.
Here outside the fire station is a permanent reminder of that tragic day. This is a piece of steel warped and torn down from the World Trade Center, gifted to us here in Las Vegas from the city of New York. Across town, over at Palo Verde High School, is another permanent tribute rededicated today in honor of one of their teachers killed in the attack. One of the victims killed that day was from right here in Las Vegas. This is Barbara Edwards, a former teacher at Palo Verde. She was on board American Airlines Flight 77 that hit the Pentagon in D.C. Back here at the fire station, she and the thousands of others killed in the attack were remembered starting at 6:50 a.m. That's the approximate local time that the South Tower collapsed at the World Trade Center. Of those in attendance, a retired New York City firefighter who now lives right here in Las Vegas. Like many of us, Frank Pizarro woke up to the news that the Twin Towers had been hit. He was off that day, but headed into work anyways, going straight into ground zero to help.
We got there just as the first tower was collapsing. It's not something I'll soon forget. Don't forget. And that we remember to love each other once again, despite our disagreements and our differences of opinion. And, wow. But that, we never forget, and that we honor those who fought and sacrificed.
Following the attack, Pizarro worked for days straight in the recovery. As you heard and saw, he was brought to tears thinking about the division many in our country are reportedly feeling these days. And he just asks us all to remember that first, we are the United States of America. Reporting from Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, Fire Station 5, Kendall Nunley, News 3.
If you have a story you would like to share, we've got a thread on Twitter going right now. Just search news3lv.com. It's so important that in Never Forgetting, we share our stories. I had the opportunity to go to Ground Zero after the attacks. I will never, ever, ever forget the smells, the sights, the sounds, and the tears of the victims.
Right, and I'll never forget the panic I heard in my mom's voice. I was living in D.C., just graduated from college, was working as an intern at BET Nightly News at the time, and she immediately wanted me to come home. But of course, the whole city had stopped. There was no getting around on cabs, trains, the airport, everything shut down. The day before 9/11, September 10th, I was actually at the Pentagon.
Wow.
And I always think about, wow, you know, that could have been me, and that was so many people. And a friend of mine, her brother was actually there at the tower that day, a member of Secret Service, and She was crying 17 years later. We were all talking today through social media, and she was in tears thinking about all that has happened, the fact that she has nieces and nephews who wouldn't have been born had he succumbed to that tragedy. So it's one of those things we'll never forget, and we never should forget, and it reminds us that we're all Americans and we're all in this fight together.
Yep, that's why my children, when we see a firefighter or a first responder anywhere or a veteran, we always stop and say, you go ahead of us and thanks for your service. So that's our way of paying tribute to the victims and the first responders. And like we say, if you have a story about 9/11, where you were that day, go to Twitter and jump on our feed.
Well, now to this, the weather that everyone is watching, especially in the Carolinas. Evacuation orders continue to grow along the southeastern seaboard as Hurricane Florence continues to march toward the Carolinas. The storm, which intensified dramatically from a Category 1 to a Category 4 hurricane, could roar ashore with winds of up to 140 miles per hour. Emergency declarations mean first responders from across the country will be on hand, and that also includes a Nevada task force. No one wants to take any chances with this storm.
The storm is not a glancing blow. This storm's going to be a direct hit. It is going to be a long time and a long-term recovery when we talk about the effects of Florence.
Rain and tropical storm force winds are expected to begin tomorrow. The conditions will continue to deteriorate as the storm makes landfall later this week.
Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Olivia is set to make landfall as early as tonight in Hawaii. Residents there say they are well prepared for the storm following Hurricane Olivia. The U.S. Coast Guard issued a port condition saying that vessels in Kauai may not enter, transit, or even remain within the harbor safety zone without the permission of officials there until that storm passes. And we want to let you know, we know a lot of you have family and friends in those areas, or your weather authority, and Chloe Beardsley is tracking this storm along with our entire weather authority team. Chloe?
Yeah, and this is what it looks like in the Atlantic. You can see right here, Florence, very well-defined hurricane. Isaac is a tropical storm, so not as well organized. He's going to continue west, impacting the Lesser Antilles on Thursday. Also, a little bit farther to the east, we have Helene. This one will continue to push northward. As it does so into that cooler water, it will weaken and diminish. This is the big threat, though. We've been tracking Florence for the last several days, watching the movement of the track. It is still expected to be a very intense hurricane. Take a look at this. Thursday afternoon, still a Category 4 hurricane, and it looks like maybe impacting the area anywhere from Thursday night into early Friday. And the big concern right now is very, very heavy rainfall. As the system continues to push into the Carolinas near Wilmington, it will very slowly diminish into a Category 3 and then later an area of low pressure. But as the system potentially stalls, we could see anywhere from 10 to 20 inches of rainfall. So that is a lot of devastation that is anticipated. Again, anywhere it can move within this cone, but we're tracking it right here, and it looks like it could be catastrophic. To the Pacific we go. We talked about Olivia pushing into the Hawaiian Islands later this evening. As it continues its way west, it will lose its track a little bit as it gets into Wednesday. Right now, winds at about 60, diminishing to 40 on Thursday. Rainfall totals anywhere from 2 to 5 inches, isolated amounts up to 10 in some areas, continuing its way westward. And for our area, we've enjoyed some very pleasant weather lately in Las Vegas. That's all about to change starting tomorrow. We'll talk more about that in the full weather segment, guys.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks so much, Chloe. New at 3, a woman convicted of helping with the kidnapping of Elizabeth Smart in 2002 will get out of prison next week, 6 years earlier than expected. Wanda Barzee, the wife of Brian David Mitchell, who helped kidnap Smart and hold her for hostage for 9 months, will be released from prison on September 19th. The 72-year-old pleaded guilty in 2009 in federal court to kidnapping and unlawful transportation of a minor. Smart, now 30 years old, says she is surprised and disappointed to learn of Barzee's imminent release.
Back here in the Valley, a man is dead after a shooting near the Palms Resort and Casino. In fact, police found the man in his vehicle after receiving a call of gunshots at around 3 this morning at Arville near Flamingo. At this time, police do not have any suspects in custody.
A local coffee shop burglarized overnight, and these are photos from Vesta Coffee. It's near Casino Center in Charleston. The coffee shop closed today because the suspect broke glass and stole the register. Now, we do not know if that register had any money in it, but if you know anything about this crime, you are urged to call Crime Stoppers at 888-385-5555.
All right, trading in their skates for golf shoes. Members of the Vegas Golden Knights hit the links today, all in the name of charity.
Yeah, something just tells me they're good at everything. The event comes as the team prepares for training camp this weekend. A season of roster changes. News 3's Denise Roche live at City National with the latest. Denise?
Yeah, first things first. It is the Vegas Golden Knights prospects who are on the ice today. This is a third of 3 games in their rookie face-off. And unfortunately, you caught us during an intermission. It is currently 1-1 against the LA Kings. But the veterans playing a different sport today. The inaugural Vegas Golden Knights Charity Golf Classic teeing off at Bears Best in Summerlin. The foundation is created to help a number of local causes ranging from education to homelessness. And players today were matched up with members of the community for the event. Now, we also got a chance to ask about the upcoming season and the addition of a few new faces, including Max Pacioretty.
He's a big power forward. He's strong. He's extremely fast, and he's got a good release. So there's reasons why he's had so many 30-goal seasons, and it'll be exciting for him to join this group and be able to gel with us.
It's tough to lose Thomas and a real good prospect, but I mean that's the business and that's how it works. So haven't met him yet or anything like that, but we're looking forward to a great player. A lot of speed, can score, and I think he'll fit in nicely.
And we are told Pacioretty will be made available to the local media tomorrow, and preseason begins, believe it or not, 5 o'clock Sunday when the Knights take on the Coyotes over at T-Mobile. But again, today, it is all about the rookie face-off. Again, 1-1 against the LA Kings right now. Reporting live, I'm Denise Roche for News 3. Let's go back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks so much, Denise. Well, up next, meet Zoe, a brave girl battling cancer. Her fight's not possible without the generosity of people like you. Coming up, how you can help her and other children get treatments that they so desperately need.
News 3 going beyond the podium, giving you an in-depth look at each of the major candidates running in November's election and why they want your vote. You are looking at our candidates for governor there. Tune in to News 3 live at 6:30 starting tonight. We're going to focus first on Republican Adam Laxalt running for governor. You can also meet the candidates on our website, news3lv.com.
Breaking news just into our newsroom. At least one person is dead after shots are fired at Canyon Springs High School. Police are telling us that it happened on campus by the baseball field.
So at this point, we do not know if the person shot was a student. A crew from News 3 is on the way to the scene. And just a moment ago, we got this from North Las Vegas Police Twitter department. They're saying that they are investigating that shooting. They're also telling anybody who might be going there to pick up a student or otherwise, stay away from the area. They're telling where the media needs to go on the east side of the school. But for now, this is the word from North Las Vegas Police Department, shooting near Canyon Springs High School. All right, this is definitely a hard turn from that story to this story, but our St. Jude Dream Home giveaway is almost sold out. So don't wait, reserve your ticket today for a chance to win a Henderson home and help some of the sickest children on our planet.
Yeah, we're talking about children like Zoe from California. Here's more on how she's karate chopping cancer.
I got into karate because I just wanted to see how you do it.
Zoe, the dynamo, full of fight as she faces one of life's biggest foes, cancer. In kindergarten, a tumor turned up in a CT scan.
My mom told me, and I was like, wow.
They removed most of it. They couldn't get all of it. 3 months later, it began to grow again. They did not want to do another surgery. It would have been too risky. Zoe's neurosurgeon mentioned to us about coming to St. Jude. A week and a half later, we were here.
St. Jude offers proton radiation, pointing out the exact location of the tumor, and allows doctors to treat the affected area without destroying other parts of Zoe's young brain.
The treatment's 30 treatments. It's about 6 weeks, Monday through Friday. Radiation treatment is very precise. It's important that you remain still the entire time. If they're able to do it awake, it minimizes the time that they have to spend in the hospital. 6 and under are typically sedated. Zoe, she had impulse control of a teenager almost. She would sit still, whereas typical 5-year-olds, it's like, squirrel. I think the discipline from the karate helped her.
life to be back to normal. I don't want this big tumor in my head.
She's doing beautiful.
They were afraid that it might affect her eyesight, but we have been so blessed that it hasn't affected her eyesight. She will have to do growth hormone to start growing. All of her hormones are affected by the tumor, but she's alive. We are so grateful for St. Jude. We just want people to know that this place has to continue. It just has to continue for all the wonderful things that they do for our family and other families and all these children that are in need.
I have a cross and some stars and a heart. It says, "Thank you, St. Jude from Zoe."
I know she's going to do great things.
I just want to give my heart out. It's always good to open your heart.
From a little angel, and of course we're asking for all of you to open your hearts. I mean, when you walk through the halls of St. Jude and you meet these families and these children, they literally are in the fight of their lives, but you can't tell it. Their spirits are so high. And I think one of the reasons why their spirit is so high is because they have faith in the process. They trust that they're in the best hands possible with the doctors and nurses there. And then they take away the biggest burden that a lot of families face when they have a medical emergency, the cost. They pay for everything, including travel and their time that they have to stay there. Some of them are there for as much as a year, maybe even more for treatment. So there's a lot that goes into making sure that these families get everything that they need.
Yeah, and there's a lot that goes into your participation. That's why we do this here at News 3. That's why we partner with so many different vendors around our community to make sure that there's a home to give away so that one lucky family can actually get the keys to this house. And when they win that house, they're going to go in knowing that they bought that $100 ticket to help a child in the fight for his or her life, to help a mom and a dad and family members not have the stress of paying for those medical bills so that they can focus on advocacy for their child. So every window, every wall of this home, every piece of decor placed is a tribute to children. How many tickets?
204 left.
Out of 10,000?
Out of 10,000, 204. So if you don't get in today, it's very well possible that we could sell out. In fact, we're asking you all to help us sell out and get this wonderful home. As a matter of fact, this home is worth $415,000. So if you invest $100 into a ticket, you have the opportunity to gain this beautiful home that has top of the line everything. Not to mention that you're winning anyway because you're helping these kids win. I think they take like nearly $1 billion every year to just fund this hospital, to fund the treatments, to help the families. We're asking you to help us raise $1 million of that.
We're almost there, Las Vegas.
We're almost there.
800-378-5386. You can also go to our website, news3lv.com.
Get your house today. All right, time now for a check of our forecast. News 3, of course, your weather authority. And it's another warm day, but when you look at what's happening across the country, you kind of feel silly complaining about it.
I was going to say no rain in the forecast, but you guys talking about St. Jude, you've got the waterworks over here because those kids don't ask to be sick.
No.
Right, exactly.
You know.
They ask to be well and to have advocates, right?
Yeah, so let's do it, people. It's a beautiful day to make it happen. We'll go outside. Look at that, wall-to-wall sunshine, not even a cloud outside in Las Vegas. We're going to take a nice little field trip. Look at Red Rock, wall-to-wall sunshine there, a little bit more of the same at the lake. It almost makes you want to jump in, but don't. Henderson, a little bit of a breeze this afternoon. The winds will be stronger over the next couple of days. Outside, look at this in Spring Valley. Nice view. A little bit of a shakeage when it comes to the trees this afternoon, but like I said, stronger winds are on the horizon. Gusts so far today to 29 in that time-lapse area that we showed you in Henderson at College in the 95. Temperatures in the upper 90s there, and our numbers are actually going to peel back a little bit more. 27-mile-an-hour winds in Boulder City right now in the triple digits. Winds currently at 20 miles an hour out of the south. Also a little bit of a breeze at the Wetlands Park in southeast, 27-mile-an-hour winds there, and temperatures in the upper 90s at the moment. A look at the neighborhoods, roughly 10 to 15-mile-an-hour winds for tonight. Like I said, they'll ramp up even more tomorrow. The gusts so far today, a warm up for Wednesday and Thursday with temperatures outside not too bad. We are not allowed to complain about any of this. Upper 90s on the west side of town to the triple digits for most of the rest of the neighborhoods. 103 downtown, 102 for the Nellis area, and 101 degrees in Old Henderson. Outside the valley, we're in the mid 70s on the mountain, 96 for Pahrump. 100 degrees at the lake and 105 in Overton. Looking at the satellite, we are tracking an area of low pressure, this trough that will be pushing into the west coast. That will bring us blustery conditions Wednesday and Thursday. With that dry weather, don't start any fires and be careful around the grill. As we take you out the next few days, the futurecast showing that area of low pressure continuing to push into the coast. We'll certainly feel the wind speeds pick up more so Wednesday afternoon, continuing into Thursday. So we'll hang on to those winds with gusts roughly between 30 and 40 miles an hour across southern Nevada. Higher wind speeds are possible in the mountains, around 50 miles an hour over the course of those 2 days. Tonight, clear with low temperatures dropping down to the mid 70s in the valley. As we take a look at our neighbors, this is what it's going to look like overnight. 71 degrees for the Overton area, 54 degrees for Mount Charleston, mid 60s for Pahrump, with high temperatures tomorrow backing down even more. It's going to finally start feeling like fall around here, but it's like a Las Vegas fall when it's like still looking like this tomorrow afternoon, with temperatures flirting with the triple digits. But that's our season. It's still going to be above normal for this time of year. The numbers will come off a little bit more over the next few days, drop off I should say, with gusts over 30 miles an hour expected in the Las Vegas area. We'll really feel those wind speeds start to pick up in the afternoon though, afternoon to evening. The last I checked, the timeline was roughly between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock that we'll see some of those stronger winds. This is what it will look like tomorrow, so not too bad of a morning, but those winds will be increasing later on in the day. And as we roll out the next 7 days, hanging on to the gusty conditions into Thursday, remaining in the upper 90s through Friday. A ridge of high pressure starts to build in, and we're going to see those temperatures soaring back to the triple digits as we get into the second half of the weekend, but we might as well call it that on Saturday, because on the east side of town at least we'll be in the triple digits, and then we coast into the low hundreds into Tuesday.
Coasting.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Chloe. Well, coming up, more on the breaking news out of Canyon Springs High School, where one person has sadly been shot and killed. We'll be right back. We are following breaking news. At least one person shot and killed on the school grounds of Canyon Springs High School. Police are telling us that it happened by the baseball field.
We don't know if the person shot was a student. We do have a crew on the way to the scene. North Las Vegas Police is saying near Canyon Springs. However, we are getting conflicting reports that it happened on the grounds of Canyon Springs. Our crew will get there. Police will give their update, and we'll give you a little bit more information as soon as it comes to you.
A new homeless program aimed to get people off the streets.
The steps one foundation taking to succeed where other organizations struggle.
America will never, ever submit to tyranny.
The United States pauses to mark 17 years since the tragedy of September 11th. Tributes and ceremonies as the nation remembers the worst terror attack to ever happen on U.S. soil.
Foiled plot, a man now behind bars for what police found in his apartment. The disturbing discovery that threatened dozens of people.
Real talk. New research highlights an important tool to help improve a toddler's IQ. The simple thing that you can do that scientists say could make all the difference.
News 3 starts right now.
We continue to follow that breaking news we've been telling you about. At least one person shot and killed on the school grounds of Canyon Springs High School. Police are telling us it happened by the baseball field.
We don't know if the person shot was a student. A crew is on the way to the scene, and hopefully we can get the answers we seek, including whether the shooter is still out there somewhere. As soon as we can get that information to you, we'll bring it to you. Now to this.
Memorials and tributes across the United States as the country remembers the September 11th terror attacks.
You know, people are pausing to remember the deadliest terror attack in our nation's history. Really hard to believe. 17 years ago today, terrorists hijacked 4 airplanes and killed nearly 3,000 people.
NBC's Chris Pallone is in Manhattan for one of today's solemn ceremonies.
Outside Shanksville, Pennsylvania, the voices of 40 United Flight 93 passengers will live on long after their deaths. 40 wind chimes dedicated to their memories will hang in a tower forever at the field where they died after becoming unsuspecting and unlikely heroes.
They boarded the plane as strangers, and they entered eternity, linked forever as true heroes.
President Donald Trump lauded their sacrifice in stopping hijackers from reaching their intended target.
This memorial is now a message to the world. America will never, ever submit to tyranny.
As a nation, Americans vowed never to forget the 3,000 innocent victims of the September 11th terrorist attacks. And so even 17 years later, they paused to tell their stories. At the Pentagon,
we commit ourselves to remembering and honoring the lives that might have been. We keep faith with the innocent who perished.
And in New York, the epicenter, literally ground zero of the attack, where children have grown up before our eyes, repeating the name of a father or mother, sister or brother, so we, the nation, the world won't forget them.
We'll always love you and I'll never forget you.
And we won't, because we promised we never would. Chris Pallone, NBC News, New York.
We want to hear from you with our question of the day. 17 years after 9/11, do you think we are winning the war on terror? Head on over to news3lv.com to weigh in.
1.5 million people are under mandatory evacuation orders in the coastal areas of Virginia and North and South Carolina as Hurricane Florence closes in. In fact, we're told landfall is expected sometime either late Thursday or Friday, but the impact begins well before. Tropical storm force winds will reach the coast late Wednesday. Storm surges and 30 inches of rain are just a few of the threats facing the East Coast. Clark County officials say FEMA has activated Nevada Task Force 1. 16 first responders of our very own are on their way as we speak to head to what could be a hard-hit hurricane zone.
Caught on camera, Los Angeles police released body cam footage of a shootout between two officers and a suspect. One of the officers suffered a gunshot wound, but she survived. We want to warn you, though, this video may be hard for you to watch. The two officers stopped Richard Mendoza, who police say is a known gang member. He steps out of the car, pulls out his gun, and shoots the officer directly in front of him. The second officer on the other side of the car returns fire, killing Mendoza. LAPD says it is investigating the case. It is not commenting on the status of the officer shot, other than saying she is recovering right now.
Miami Beach police stop a man they say wanted to blow up his apartment building. In fact, security footage just released shows Walter Stolper secretly bringing large amounts of gas in and out of that condominium. A building maintenance worker saw this right there, lifting off the towels and off of the gas cans there, called police. In Stolper's apartment, officers found those gas containers, fans, and other materials used for making fire. He's charged with attempted arson and attempted murder. Look at all that gasoline. A California judge sentences a man to 5 years in prison for intentionally starting a fire in Joshua Tree National Park. George Graham started the March fire by sparking a tree with a cigarette lighter. That fire, as you can see, destroyed several historic trees. Prosecutors say Graham was already on parole for arson at the time and admitted that he set the fire.
A new program in Los Angeles is getting homeless people off the streets and into a temporary home. It's called Bridge Home, located in the city's historic district. The shelter is equipped with bathrooms, laundry facilities, and medical staff on site. Volunteers work with residents to find them permanent housing.
The homeless population in Los Angeles, I believe we have about 33,000. We have 27,000 who are unsheltered. And for instance, in Skid Row, we have about 4,000 homeless. About half of those are unsheltered.
Los Angeles officials say in the past 6 years, the city's homeless population skyrocketed by 75%.
Apple may be a major smartphone player in the United States, but its popularity is lacking some big international markets. According to industry estimates, Apple's signature device accounts for only 2% of smartphone sales in India. Sales sit at between 8 and 10% in China. Hundreds of millions of people in Asia either don't have the money for a smartphone or they say they just don't want one.
If you have a toddler in your home, it might be time to start engaging them in conversation. A new study in the journal Pediatrics shows conversations help language skills and boost IQ. Researchers tested 2 groups of kids aged 18 to 24 months. One group heard words, the other actually heard conversations. Those same children were brought back for testing 8 years later. Scientists found the toddlers who engaged in conversation had higher IQs and vocabulary scores.
Well, a dispute over yoga pants is making a comeback at a Wisconsin high school.
Oh, they're serious about it. The district ended its 5-year ban, allowing students to wear them again, but the ACLU says the school isn't doing enough. The group claims school officials selectively enforced the ban. The ACLU points at a case during summer school in which a girl was sent home twice because of her yoga pants.
We can talk about items of clothing and we can talk about decency and all that, but the bigger picture is that girls are being pulled out of class and losing access to education at a rate that boys aren't. And that's a bigger problem.
The ACLU says it's still waiting for the school district's response.
Up next, a hero steps forward while others run away.
Yeah, find out what one man did inside Starbucks that helped save a woman's life.
He's not a quitter. He's a survivor.
A Tennessee boy proving he's not like most baseball players, how the challenges he faced early in his life only make him stronger.
Toasty at 102 degrees right now, strong winds and cooler highs expected tomorrow. We'll show you how long this active weather will last coming up.
Now for political commentary, here's the bottom line with Boris.
The chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, Kevin Hassett, has been a leading economist in our country for over 30 years. I asked him which policies are making sure that our economy is as strong as it currently is. Here's what he told me.
The biggest policy that's driving everything is that we made America a friendly place to operate a factory again. And we used to be the highest corporate tax place on earth, and so you could, if you're a firm, a big multinational, you could build your plant to make iPhones over in Ireland, or you could build it here in the US. And if you built it in Ireland, you didn't have to pay any tax at all practically. If you built it in the US, you had the highest tax on earth. I think that the only historical precedent for this big of a turning point in economic history is Ronald Reagan.
On tax cuts. So you're saying that the corporate tax cut has already caused this large growth. Let's talk about the personal rates. Those were cut for a set amount of time through 2026. Now there's discussion about making those cuts permanent. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, President Trump 100% wants to make the tax cuts for businesses and for individuals permanent, but we fully expect, especially if Republicans win in the fall, that we'll make all of this stuff permanent. And I think that folks, if they look at their paychecks, then they'll see that the tax cuts are having a really big effect on their take-home pay. But I think that what's going to happen is that they're really going to see the biggest effect when they do their taxes next year. Because don't forget, the thing you file next April is the tax for this year.
Here's the bottom line. The historic tax cuts signed by President Trump last year are a leading reason for the economic prosperity we are currently experiencing. Let's hope that those tax cuts are made permanent, so we can ensure long-term, sustainable economic growth in our country. Share with me your bottom line. Send me an email at bottomline@sbgtv.com and let me know your thoughts on today's segment.
We continue to follow that breaking news. At least one person shot and killed on the school grounds of Canyon Springs High School.
Police are telling us it happened by the baseball field. News 3's Max Darrow is live at the school. A lot of parents, Max, at this time set to pick up their kids. Can you set the scene for us and tell us what you know?
Well, there's all of the entrances to the school are blocked off right now, and we're just right outside the front of the school at Canyon Springs High School. And what you're looking at right now, you're seeing what look to be parents speaking with some of the law enforcement officers here on scene. I did speak with a Clark County School District spokesperson. They did say that right now the school is on lockdown. At this point, it's really unclear as to how many people were there at the school when this happened, and also really just limited information that we're getting at this point, because still, as you can see, a very active scene. But as we've been here for the past 10-15 minutes, we've seen some parents hugging, some people crying. At this point, really just unsure of probably what's going on. These parents who are picking up their kids should be coming to get their kids from the school right now. Again, North Las Vegas police have confirmed that one person is dead. We still at this time do not know the extent of who this person is or what happened, or if there was any other one at this time. Again, Reed, as you mentioned, this did happen, according to police, near the baseball field outside of a school building. But again, as we come on back here, we'll just continue to keep you updated as we get more information. But again, a very active scene that this whole school, Canyon Springs High School, has been surrounded by police right now. Reporting live, Max Darrow, News 3.
Max, a lot of people on Twitter wondering if there's still an active shooter out there. Are you hearing anything about that?
We haven't heard anything at this point. Still waiting for more information from North Las Vegas Police and from the school district as well. But as soon as we get that, we'll continue to brief you with more.
All right, such a sad situation, and especially on a day of remembrance, and a lot of people are remembering the people that we lost on 9/11 17 years ago. Hopefully they will get the answers that they need, and this thing will get resolved quickly. And our thoughts to the family of whoever passed away today.
Absolutely. And you know, it's on days like this when we grasp for light, right? I mean, 9/11 causes us to grasp for light, and so that's why we build into this newscast an opportunity to see where people are actually out there doing good in our world.
Yeah, we certainly need it, like perfecting a sport like baseball. Of course, we all know that's something that can be hard to do, but doing it without being able to lift one of your arms may seem impossible. But as Kathleen Surrey from our Sinclair sister station in Nashville reports, one 8-year-old boy is making his dream come true.
Ooh, I can't hit with this bat.
Lofton Cashin eats, sleeps, and breathes baseball.
And in fielding, you can just practice like doing ground balls and doing pop-ups and just hitting. You just need to practice hitting and get your feet right.
He loves it. He is adamant about it. He's passionate about it.
But Lofton isn't following his baseball dream because it's easy. When he was 4, an upper respiratory infection attacked the nerves in his spinal cord.
I asked him, again, raise your arms for me, you silly goose, and he was like, Mommy, I can't.
His left arm paralyzed, the muscles in his shoulder degenerating.
It's completely changed our world.
But that hasn't stopped this determined 8-year-old from playing the game he loves for the Wilson County Mustangs, a traveling team.
He's not a quitter. He's a survivor. I mean, he is like, he's been such an inspiration to so many people that it's just a God-given gift for him.
Nerve surgery gave him arm movement up to his elbow. He can even swing a bat, with his right arm doing most of the work.
But I've always told him to go at it at 100%. You may do things differently, but there's no reason why you can't. We don't even use the word can't in our family.
Now, the family is preparing for another surgery that would transfer muscle to stabilize his left shoulder, possibly giving him more arm movement. In the meantime, this go-getter keeps his faith close for each big game, with this Bible verse written on his eye black.
It's, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And he goes by that motto every day.
Philippians 4:13, one of my favorites. Well, police say a California man stepped in to help out a woman as her ex-boyfriend attacked her. Police say Blaine Hodge and a friend were enjoying coffee at a Bakersfield Starbucks when a woman ran into the store screaming for help. Seconds later, that suspect, they say, walked in armed with a machete. Without a second thought, Blaine confronts the suspect.
Everyone else was running away, and he was the first person to run straight to the action. He's like, I'm going to stop this guy regardless if I get stabbed or not. Because I'm sure he saw the machete before anybody else did, but he didn't care. He's like, I'm going in there. I can't let this woman die.
Wow, talk about brave. Police say the suspect stabbed Blaine several times, but he saved the woman and subdued the suspect long enough for police to arrive. Well, make sure to join the conversation on Facebook by liking our page. Just search for KSNV News 3 Las Vegas.
Time now for a check of our forecast. News 3 is your weather authority. Chloe watching not only the local situation, but also the systems that are barreling towards the coastline.
Florence,
Yeah.
Category 4, it is going to be devastating.
Yeah.
So we'll have an update on that in just a moment. First, we're going to start with our local forecast, though, and then have an update on Florence. But we're going to take you outside where it is calm for now. Our winds are going to pick up starting tomorrow afternoon. You'll definitely notice it. Air quality, green light, looks good outside. And throughout the afternoon, we've seen that wall-to-wall sunshine that we got a repeat of from yesterday. But overall, very nice conditions. Fairly quiet compared to what we're in for as far as tomorrow goes. 104 degrees over at Deering Elementary School, a little bit more to the east side of town. Temperatures at 103 in Green Valley, and on the cooler side of things on the west side, 96 degrees at Faith Lutheran. The rest of the temperatures outside mostly in the triple digits, but these numbers will back off a few degrees tomorrow and even more so the following day. Wind speeds roughly 10 to 15 miles an hour for tonight, but stronger gusts are on the horizon. Outside the valley, we're at 76 now 75 on Mount Charleston, 96 degrees right now in Pahrump. This is a cool weather network, our Weather Smart WeatherBug network. We're the only station that can show you this real-time action. 106 degrees in Overton. We're at 98 over in Boulder City. And before we continue our local forecast, we are going to check in on Florence. Take a look at this very well-defined hurricane. You can see the eye right here, a Category 4 hurricane right now packing winds at about 140 miles an hour. It is continuing its movement to the Carolinas, and so far the anticipated landfall is possible Thursday night into Friday just north of Wilmington. We'll have another update coming up at 5 on that. As far as what we're expecting over the southwest, well, our winds are going to pick up. The dry weather pattern will continue, but low pressure moving into the west coast will bring us that breezy conditions starting tomorrow morning with stronger winds Wednesday night and gusty conditions lingering into Thursday. Clear tonight, lows dropping down to the mid-70s with regional temperatures maybe a degree or so cooler compared to this morning. Highs tomorrow also backing off a few degrees, upper 90s at the lake as well as Boulder City, with temperatures also flirting with the triple digits in Las Vegas. Winds will pick up more significantly in the afternoon with gusts over 30 miles an hour possible, and roughly those winds 30 to 40 possible through Thursday afternoon. After that, calmer weather as we get closer to the weekend with temperatures back in the triple digits Sunday into next week. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
We continue to follow some sad breaking news from one of our schools, a deadly shooting on the grounds of Canyon Springs High School.
Let's go to Antonio Castellan with the latest. Antonio.
Reed, police have not said if they are looking for an active shooter. We are right here near Craig and 5th. We are north of Canyon Springs High School. Witnesses say that the shooting happened at a baseball field. Take a look right over there, right where that sign is. There is a huge North Las Vegas police presence. There is a North Las Vegas truck crime scene unit. They have a lot of officers on the baseball fields picking up evidence. Right now we are hearing that one person is dead. As you can imagine, there are a lot of worried parents around here trying to figure out how they could get to their students, and that is the very latest at this time. One person has been shot and killed. Reporting live, Antonio Castellan, News 3.
Antonio, thank you.
Yeah, our thoughts with that community there. And that's going to do it for us here at News 3 Live at 3. A very heavy newscast, but of course our thoughts with everyone involved. And we hope to see you at 5.